Hi guys, back again. Don't know, I thought you might find this interesting. I kind of work in the field of mental health, so don't know, I'm going to make a link here and see what you guys think. See if you recognise any of these qualities. I guess for me, it's kind of stark when we look at the people who rule our worlds, i.e. the government and the people behind the government. See if you recognise any of these qualities and see if they stand out for you. Glibness and superficial charm. Okay? Think about that one, superficial charm. Think about how MPs operate, how senators and potentially governors and elected officials all around the world operate. Think about that, superficial charm label there. Manipulative and conning. They never recognise the rights of others and see their self-serving behaviours as permissible. They appear to be charming, yet are covertly hostile and domineering. Seeing their victim as merely an instrument to be used, they may dominate and humiliate their victims. Grandiose sense of self. Really interesting one again when we look at these, some of the people we're thinking about making this link to. Feels entitled to certain things as their right. I guess that could be their right to make decisions about how we should live or behave, etc. Pathological lying. There's no problem lying coolly and easily. It is almost impossible for them to be truthful on a constant basis or a consistent basis. Can create and get caught up in a complex belief about their own powers and abilities. Extremely convincing, even able to pass the lie detector tests. Lack of remorse, shame or guilt. A deep-seated rage which is split off and repressed is at their core. Does not see others around them as people, but only as targets and opportunities. Instead of friends, they have victims and accomplices, who end up as victims. The end always justifies the means, and let nothing stand in their way. Shallow emotions. When they show what seems to be warmth, joy, love and compassion, it is more feigned than experienced and serves an ulterior motive. Outraged by insignificant matters, yet remaining unmoved and cold by what would upset a normal person. Since they are not genuine, neither are their promises. An incapacity for love. Not sure about that one, but a good possibility. Need for stimulation. Living on the edge. Verbal outbursts and physical punishments are normal. Promiscuity and gambling are common. Gambling with world economies? Could that ring a bell? Callousness and a lack of empathy. Unable to empathise with others' pain or the pain of their victims, having only contempt for others, feelings of distress and readily taking advantage of these feelings. Poor behavioural controls and impulsive nature. Rage and abuse, alternating with small expressions of love and approval, produce an addictive cycle for the abuser and abused, as well as creating hopelessness in the victim, belief that they are all-powerful, all-knowing and entitled to every wish. No sense of personal boundaries or concern for their impact on others. Now that's kind of a really significant one, I feel. Early behaviour problems, juvenile delinquency. Usually has a history of behaviour and academic difficulties, yet gets by conning others. Problems in making and keeping friends. Aberrant behaviour such as cruelty to people or animals, stealing, etc. Stealing, extortion. MP's expenses? I wonder. Irresponsibility, unreliability. Not concerned about wrecking others' lives and dreams. Oblivious or indifferent to the devastation they cause. Does not accept blame themselves, but blames others, even for acts they obviously committed. Again, interesting. Promiscuous sexual behaviour, infidelity. Not sure about this one, but I'm sure if we dug deep enough, we might find some interesting stuff. Lack of realistic life plan, parasitic lifestyle. Tends to move around a lot or makes all-encompassing promises for the future, Poor work ethic, but exploits others effectively. Promises for the future, all-encompassing. Sounds interesting again. Sound familiar? Any of you guys starting to make the links here between what we hear in political speeches and rallies and the reality of the situation? Criminal or entrepreneurial versatility. Changes their image as needed to avoid prosecution. Changes the life story readily. Let's look at some other related qualities here. Contemptuous of those who seek to understand them. Does not perceive that anything is wrong with them. Authoritarian. Secretive. Paranoid. Only rarely in difficulty with the law, but seeks out situations where the tyrannical behaviour will be tolerated, condoned, or even admired. Again, some more big links there, I'm thinking. Conventional appearance. Guess it'd have to be to run for mainstream election. Goal of enslavement of their victims. Any New World Order guys out there that are, following the sort of conspiracy theories, New World Order trial, this one will ring a bell, yeah? Exercises despotic control over every aspect of the victim's life. I guess when I'm reading this, I'm relating the victim role to us, the masses, the population in the street. Has an emotional need to justify their crimes and therefore needs their victims' affirmation, respect, gratitude and love. See how this works? Look, we saved you again. Ultimate goal is the creation of a willing victim, i.e. the willing populace. Again, this could be tied back into create the fear, create the solution. We're all thankful for it. Incapable of real human attachment to another. Makes a lot of sense when you start to look at the personality profiles. Unable to feel guilt or remorse. Wasn't it Tony Blair that recently said he would have invaded Iraq regardless of whether they had WMDs or not? Are we seeing this come into play? Extreme narcissism and grandiose self-concept. No shit. May state readily that their goal is to rule the world. Okay, let me make some sense of this now. I've read out this list of what we would call personality traits. You can actually look all this up. The link I guess I'm making is that these personality traits can be taken from Robert D. Hare, the psychopathic checklist. Okay, go out, look it up. That's Robert D. Hare, H-A-R-E. Can also be looked up in the DSM-4 or the ICD-10. Okay, these will get diagnostic manuals for mental health. Okay, what they are all describing are the attributes of the psychopath, or a psychopath, or a sociopath. Okay, the slight difference is the psychopath tends to be more organised, or Machiavellian, etc., whereas the sociopath tends to have more developmental problems, coming from a poor background, etc. So I think we're pretty safe in the psychopath field here. So I guess what I'm highlighting is, if we look at these statistical manuals for diagnosing mental health disorders, we can see kind of very clear links, I believe, between these personality traits and the personality traits of the people that we have supposedly elected to represent us worldwide. And that's without considering the power behind the throne, the elitists in the background, who probably fit more of these scales on a higher level than the guys that represent them to the general public, i.e. politicians, MPs, senators, congressmen, etc. I just thought that would be an interesting link, that we're actually allowing our world to be ruled by people with a psychopathic tendency. We're effectively allowing psychopaths to run the population of the world as their victims, empowering them to do this. Like I say, this information's out there. Go and look it up and see if you can make the link yourself. This isn't conspiracy theory. This is just me looking at the necessary paperwork, looking at the diagnostic manuals and profiles, and just making those links between what I see going on in the world at large, endorsed and carried out by politicians and people that are supposed to represent us, and the link to the psychopathic tendencies that they are displaying that's actually backed up in diagnostic medical manuals. Okay, just want to think about for the new year. Do we want psychopaths running our world? Do we want psychopaths in charge of the world that our children are going to grow up in? My answer is no, and I think it's time we started doing something about this before it all goes to hell in a handbasket. Thanks a lot, guys. I hope this isn't too depressing. Happy New Year to everybody out there who's watching and has watched my videos so far. Take care. Peace.